Hello and welcome everybody. In this video, we will talk chess, and chess endgame in particular, the most basic and the most controversial endgame puzzles. From different references and books I gathered on endgame. Did I say we? Yes, because today I have a guest. My pupil and chess enthusiast, Paolo. Hello Paolo, how are you?
Fine.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Endgame is the toughest part of the chess game. It's when the board is simplified and when pawns play the decisive role for the game. Anatoly Karpov is one of the best positional chess players once said, "Pawns not only create the sketch for the whole painting, they are also the soil, the foundation of any position." Let's look at the first setup. Here both players have a pawn, and both kings are far away from the opponent's pawn. So what to do?
It depends.
That's true, it depends. If it's white's turn, then white will win. And if it is black's turn, then black will win. Because the question is about who will queen first. What about this position? Can white save the game?
Yes, by playing king c3.
Exactly. By playing king c3, white can win the opposition, making it odd number for his opponent. Next is this setup. Will you take on d5 or play something else?
I don't take on d5.
Exactly, because taking will lose the opposition. Better is to play king to d4. And if black took on e4, white can take back, winning the opposition. Let's look at this one. Here we have kind of a deflection tactic in the endgame. White to play and win.
a6.
Excellent. Now black is trapped and forced to retreat. Similarly is this one.
g6.
Exactly. And black is trapped. He cannot take the pawn on g6 and can't leave the h pawn to be promoted. So he can only go back and forth. While white can snap the other d and e pawn at ease. Next is this setup. What would you do?
h7.
Excellent. This is a demonstration of what is called a Zugzwang in chess. Zugzwang is when the player, no matter what move would play, will self-sabotage and lose. After h7, black has only one possible move, which is b4. And of course it's losing after a takes b4, a4, b6, a3, b7, a2, e8, checkmate. This position is well taught and very famous in chess. Will you push the A pawn or the B pawn or the C pawn?
The middle b pawn.
Correct. And if C takes B6,
h6.
B takes A6,
c6.
excellent. This one is similar and it's white to play. Can white win and how? In this position white can only win by pushing the F pawn. And after G takes F6,
g6.
H takes G6,
h6.
excellent. This setup is a challenge of two pawns versus one. What would you do?
King h5.
King h5 and it's king g7,
h4.
king h7,
King g4.
king g6,
King f3.
king f5,
g4j.
king f6,
King f4.
king e6,
King e4.
king f6,
King d5.
exactly going round the pawn. This one is similar, white to play and win.
King d4.
King d4 and if king e6,
King c5.
excellent. This setup is about the idea of triangulation. Triangulation is when you maneuver your king 3 times in a triangle in order to return to your initial square, but instead it's your opponent's move. So how white should maneuver his king?
King f4.
King f4, and if king e6,
King A4.
King e4, king f7.
King F5.
Exactly. And now black's turn, and he will retreat. Take a look at this position. At first glance, it may look hopeless for white. Black has an extra pawn and it's far away on the board. What would you do? Can you draw the game?
King B5.
King b5. And if black pushes his h-pawn,
King C6.
king c6, h4, which is a blunder,
King C7.
h3,
B5.
h2,
B6.
h1 queen in,
B7 J.
and it will be made into. And of course the other variation is black playing king a7 instead of blundering by pushing the h-pawn, and the game will end up drawing. Let's look at it. In this position as white, would you play king g4, or would you deliver check playing f5, or would you play h4?
I play F5 J.
Correct. White sacrifices to create an outside passed pawn, making space to penetrate with his king. And after king takes f5, of course not king g5, because of f6,
H4.
king e6,
King G4.
f6,
H5.
king e6,
H6.
king f7,
King F5.
and win. Here white to play and win. Choices: f4 or f6 or g5.
F6.
And if g takes f6,
F4.
king d4,
G5.
f takes g5,
F takes G5.
king e5,
G takes H6.
king f6.
King C2.
Excellent. And the h-pawn will queen after black's king abandons f6. What about this one? White to play g4 or f4 or h3?
H3.
Correct. The subtle move is to play h3. And if black responded by h5,
G4.
f takes g4,
F takes G4.
h takes g4,
H4.
and this passed pawn can be stopped. But what if black responded to h3 here by playing king b6?
Then G4.
Exactly, and if f takes g4,
H takes G4.
followed by king e4, f5, and wins. Now we have this position. Would you play king d3 or king d4 or king b4?
King T3.
Correct, and after king d7, e4, f4, king e2, king e6,
King F2.
king f2, exactly, king takes e5,
King F3.
and black should resign because he is in Zugzwang. Here it's black to play either d4 or c3 or king g7, running after white's pawns.
D4.
Okay, but if white pushes his e6 pawn,
King G7.
f4,
King F6.
f5,
D3.
king b1,
H5 and black wins.
indeed, because his three pawns are unstoppable after king c1, b3, a4, c3, and of course after a takes b3 here, c takes b3, and white is in Zugzwang. In this position, it's black to play either f3 or h5 or the counterintuitive b6.
B6.
Correct, a precaution move, and after a takes b6, of course not c5, b takes a5,
A takes B6.
c5, b takes a c5, b6, king d6, b7, king c7, d8 queen in check, king takes b8, king e4, king c7, king takes f4, h5, king g5, king d6, and black is faster. Here black to play either d takes c4 or a5 or king f5.
King f5.
Exactly, king f5, not taking because if d takes c5, h4 and if a5, h5 and white is winning. So the path to victory is king f5, but if c takes d5,
King takes g6.
king takes g6 followed by king f7, e7, d6, etc. Black to play and win either king f2 or king g3 or g6. If g6, this is losing on the spot because of f5 and white's king will be nearer to the queen side. So what would you do?
King g3.
King g3, correct. And if king e3,
g6.
king e4,
King f2.
f5,
G takes f4 check.
exactly, and now black's king is nearer to the queen side. White to play and win. Choices: a5 or b5 or h3. It looks tempting to play h3, blocking the game, and it's good after playing b5, a takes b5, b6, king e3. But better is to play what?
b5.
b5. By playing b5, white creates a deadly passed pawn, and if king h5, no better is king f6,
a5.
b takes a5,
b6.
c takes d6,
d6.
d6, and this foot soldier will march to glory. This position is considered one of the most studied positions in chess, and it is sometimes called the Saavedra position because of a monk by that name who first discovered the idea of under-promotion of the pawn to a rook instead of a queen. White is in check, where to go?
King b5.
And if rook d5 check,
King b4.
rook d4 check,
King b3.
rook d3 check,
King c2.
then white played rook d4 in hopes for c8 promotion to a queen, rook c5, queen takes c5, and stalemate, but black promoted to a rook.
c8 rook promotion.
c8 rook promotion, exactly. Then white played rook a5, which is necessary to stop rook a5 check,
King b3.
king b3, and white either mates or captures the rook. This position is called the Lucena position, discovered over 500 years ago, is akin to the Rosetta Stone of chess. This type of ending with the pawn on its seventh rank has occurred countless of times. The key to victory is shielding the king from incessant checks by building a bridge. How can you build a bridge?
Rook e4.
Exactly, and after rook h1,
King f7.
rook f1 check,
King g6.
rook g1 check,
King f6.
rook f1 check,
King g5.
rook g1 check,
Rook g4.
rook takes g4 check,
King takes g4
king
and
takes g4.
and the pawn queens.
Excellent. This position here is invented by André Philidor in the late 18th century. It's white to play and draw.
Rook a3.
Excellent. The easiest way to draw this basic ending is to keep white's rook on the third rank to prevent the king from penetrating. And after the pawn pushes with
Rook a8.
exactly going back, and black can make no progress. But if black played rook b2 instead of pushing the e-pawn,
White can play a waiting move rook c3.
exactly, and it's a draw in all ways. And now we're done. This video reached its end. If anyone thinks you need some clarification on one of the positions we annotated, feel free commenting us. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.